Hello, my name is Ailyn Vargas, and I will be presenting on photosynthesis, photosystem 1 and 2, Calvin cycle, and the modifications of C4 and CAM plants. So, photosynthesis is a process that plants go through to make their own fuel. They use carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight, and chlorophyll, which is a process which occurs in photosynthesis, or is a organelle, is a pigment in chloroplast. And during this process, O2 is released. So photosystem 2 and photosystem 1 are light-dependent reactions. Light-dependent reactions basically use light energy to make two important molecules used for photosynthesis, which is ATP and NADPH. These take place in the thylakoid membrane. Photosystem 2, or P680, occurs when what happens is that when light is absorbed by one of the many pigments in chlorophyll, energy is passed inside from pigment to pigment until it's reached to the reaction center. Energy is then transferred to P680, which excites electrons to a high energy level. This high energy is passed to an acceptor, which goes up here, and is replaced by an electron from water when H2O splits, which also releases oxygen, which is what we breathe. Then the electron travels through the electron transport chain and loses its energy, loses ATP. The released energy drives pumps of hydrogen ions into the stroma to inside of the thylakoid, creating a gradient. When these ions flow through the gradient into the stroma, they pass through an ATP synthase. Then it goes into photosystem 1, and in photosystem 1, the energy that passed through photosystem 2 connects with a special pair called P700, and it is increased to a very, very high level of energy and is transported to an acceptor. This electron is then replaced by a new electron coming in from the photosystem 2. So the high energy electron goes through a very small section of the electron transport chain, and where it is passed to NADP plus to make NADPH. And basically, these photosystems allow for allow light energy to convert into chemical energy. Next is the Calvin cycle. So the Calvin cycle also occurs in plants in the chloroplast, and this is where carbon atoms from CO2 are incorporated into organic molecules or fixed molecules. It is fueled by the two molecules, which is NADPH and ATP+. There are three stages, which is carbon fixation, reduction, and regeneration. Carbon fixation combines RUBP, ribulose 1,5-biphosphate, which makes a 3-PGA. Reduction is where ATP and NADPH convert the 3-PGA into G3P, which is a 3-carbon sugar. And NADPH gives its electrons, or reduces to a 3-carbon intermediate to generate G3P. And regeneration is where the G3P can create glucose, or it's used to regenerate, so that it can leave as a sugar to create a sugar, or it can be regenerated and recycled into creating more RUBP. And next, the modifications of C4 plants and CAM plants. So this happens due to photorespiration, and photorespiration is basically an unnecessary pathway that happens when the Calvin cycle or Robusco, the Calvin cycle enzyme, uses oxygen rather than carbon dioxide. So the C4 plants try to minimize the occurrence by separating into cells in space to a mesophyll cell and a bundle sheath cell. And these occur with plants that are usually in hot habitats such as sugarcane and corn. And the CAM plants are plants such as cacti or pineapples that use this type of pathway due to the dry environment they live in. And these separate the pathways by night and day, so through time. And this is to conserve, meant to keep a higher concentration of carbon dioxide around Robusco.